and welcome to number 4 of our series on Bahrain VAT. Today I'm going to be talking about a subject which I think is one of the biggest areas where companies make mistakes. I'm going to reference the Oracle ERP system because that's where we are the leaders in terms of tax setup and where we've seen and know obviously what needs to be done. The subject is about advanced or prepayments. So what happens is that a lot of companies in the Middle East will ask for money up front from their customers. Let's say they're asking for 100,000. When that money is received, at the moment they just put it as on account. Then when the final work is delivered, they would send them the final invoice for 1,000, and the client will just pay them the 900. They'll apply the 100 on account plus 900, and everything it matches off. Great. With the introduction of VAT, things change. The requirement generally, globally, is that you have to account for your VAT either when you create the invoice, when the goods or services are delivered, or when you receive payment for those goods or services. Now that means when you receive the payment for the advance, i.e. that 100,000 or the 100, that's when you need to account for the VAT. So from a sales perspective, when you send a pro forma invoice to anyone to ask for that money, a pro forma invoice is not a legal document, and you must clearly state on there that it has no VAT on it. You cannot put VAT on it. We've seen companies putting VAT on pro forma invoices. It's illegal. Do not do it. From a tax point of view, you'll be non-compliant. So you have to clearly state this is not a VAT invoice and do not put any VAT on it. When your customer pays you, that money can go on account, but you need to make sure you account for the VAT at that point. That's when it becomes problematic. Now, we at Innovate Tax have actually developed a very unique system to be able to handle all of the cash that is on account. It takes 20 minutes a month. A lot of companies will actually have to create a tax-only sort of invoice in their system. Then when they actually finally invoice their customer, they'll have to create a credit note for that tax-only invoice, and then they will have to then create the final invoice. So there is complexity around that, and it can take a lot of time in order to stay compliant. So you need to ask yourself whether actually sending in an advance or request for an advance payment is a good idea anymore for your own accounting system, particularly as a lot of your customers will now actually be asking for the VAT on there because they want to be able to recover it. If that's the case, then you have to create an official invoice. Now, you could say, right, we've got an order for 1,000, we can invoice them up front for 100, then later on you can invoice them for the 900. Okay, so that's a slight different situation. You're actually invoicing them at the beginning for the 100. You're not then treating that as an advanced or prepayment which you apply to a final invoice. So that works quite well. However, it changes your whole accounting and your revenue recognition, and that's where the complexities come in. So that's something to bear in mind. Now, on the AP side, when you're actually receiving this, we also see a lot of companies using the prepayment functionality within Oracle and putting VAT on it. So you as a customer are asking for the VAT to be applied on that invoice when it's being sent to you, and you're saying, no, we're not going to pay this unless we have VAT. You're then recording that in Oracle as a prepayment. Now in Oracle you have the functionality to record it as a prepayment, and that prepayment will actually record the VAT for you. So the prepayment functionality in Oracle works and will handle the VAT no problem. But here is where we believe a lot of companies are not being compliant by doing it this way. Your supplier will have to send you the invoice, and let's say they're sending you an invoice for 100 up front. If you enter that in your system as a prepayment and you put VAT on it, they have legally have to have created a VAT invoice. Okay? Now in the UAE, legally, any VAT invoices you have to send to your customers. You're not allowed to just keep them on site. Okay? You've in your system have recorded it as 100. Your supplier has recorded it as a sale of 100. Then, when they ask you for, say, the 1,000, which is the final payment, they're allowed to send you an invoice for the 1,000. You will put the 1,000 in, and you will then apply the prepayment, and all the tax will be handled. So in your system, everything looks fine. But your supplier will have had to have created a credit note to cancel the original 100 invoice that they had sent you, to then be able to create the 1,000 with the VAT so everything's correct. You're not getting that credit note, and legally, certainly in the UAE, legally they have to send you that credit note. So that's why there's a mismatch. Okay, what this ultimately means is that when it comes to advance payments, either don't put any VAT on an advance payment, or you ask for an invoice upfront and you treat it as an invoice. So it's not an advance payment anymore. And I think that's something where a lot of companies are making mistakes. They're applying prepayments with VAT to on their purchases, when in reality their supplier cannot be doing their work correctly if they're going to do it that way. Now there is one exception to this, and that is on retention. And so, you know, a lot of companies will use a retention, or what's called advanced purchase orders in Oracle, where money is held back until a job is complete. Now Oracle again will handle that. There is a little bit of a glitch in terms of the reporting. It's not completely lined up, but we have a solution for that. But ultimately, when it comes to retention, that is when you can hold back the VAT. But you're not treating that as a prepayment. You haven't paid money up front. Someone has given you an invoice and you're holding the money back, so it's a difference. Okay, so that's something, you know, I would say at least 50% of the companies that we go and see where we haven't helped them have got problems around advance or prepayments, either doing a very long-winded way to do it correctly, and we've got actually quite a fast solution, or they're not doing it correctly at all and they risk being non-compliant. So bear that in mind. Hopefully this was a helpful video for you, and see you in the next video message.